Hey, what's up, everybody? Terry White here, and I'm once again doing a review of a set of new smart home shades. If you follow this channel, you know I'm a fan of smart home technology, especially automating blinds and shades. I recently completed the inside of my home by automating all the shades and blinds in every window. However, there was one area that could benefit from some shade, and that's this patio. A few years back, I had a handyman screen in this patio. I had an electrician install some outlets for a TV and other things. I have outdoor Wi-Fi and have some Ethernet run. And in the summertime, it's a great place to hang out and work. Unfortunately, my favorite automated shade manufacturer doesn't offer outdoor shades. My search led me to another top brand, which most of the smart home tech enthusiasts recommend, and it's Smartwings. Now, Smartwings, I reached out to them. They were very accommodating. I said I would love to review your shades, and they sent me everything I wanted at no strings attached. I could just talk about them the way I want to, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So let's get started with the ordering process. This is crucial because you're having custom shades made, and you got to get the measurements right. So if one thing we're going to tweak about their website is they let you basically choose the width and the height. But if you've ever done this before, you know that all windows are not created equal. They're not even the same width from the top to bottom. So most sites that I order shades from, they basically ask you to measure from the top, left and right, from the middle, left and right, and from the bottom, left and right. So therefore, you don't end up with shades that are too tight because you measured the wrong part of the window and it gets tighter at the top or looser at the bottom or tighter at the bottom. So that way, you know, by picking the one that has the smallest measurement, that's the one that's going to fit your window. Now, thankfully, I didn't really have to worry about that because I'm not mounting them in the window frames themselves. I'm mounting them on the outside. So therefore, they don't have to fit within the frame, but they do need to fit within the area that I have designated for the window. Now, one of the things I was questioning, for example, on the site, when you do the measure, is it the shade you're measuring or the valance, meaning the casing that holds the shade or that it rolls up into? And most likely it's the valance, and I was right. But they don't make a lot of that stuff clear, especially to first-time buyers. And I even saw a YouTuber who ordered some Smartwing shades, and she found out the hard way that her windows are not the same all the way up and down, and one of her shades didn't fit because the window gets tighter at the top. So if you're ordering shades from anybody, Smartwings or anybody else, just make sure you measure across in multiple places so that you get the narrowest measurement and you know it'll fit everywhere else. All right, so with that said, the good news is I reached out to Smartwings and they answered all my questions before I placed the order. So I really didn't have any problems with the ordering process other than just some questions I wasn't sure. Now, I ordered 4 shades, but I still screwed up on 2 of them. One of the shades I didn't take into account that I have that TV mounted, and it's actually mounted to the frame. So the shade won't go past it, and I've got to move the TV over. That's easy enough, but there's also an electrical box that is going to probably be in the way as well. It may need to be moved over like an inch or so. So honestly, I just wish I had made that shade about an inch shorter. The other shade that I miscalculated is the biggest one. It's like 105 inches. And I didn't account for the left side of the shade meets up against the house and it sticks out further than I thought, and therefore it was a tight fit. I ended up having to saw part of the column on the right-hand side to make it fit. Again, wished I'd ordered it about an inch narrower and it would have fit perfectly. Again, both of these issues were my own miscalculations, nothing to do with Smartwings, but just be mindful when you're measuring for shades, anything that could be in the way or anything that could stop the shade from going up and down. Now, the shades themselves can be ordered in 1, 3, and 5% openness. And that was another term I didn't really understand, but that's basically how much light comes through. So I'm like, I don't know, 5%, which honestly, I probably, in hindsight, would have gone with 1%. I want less light coming in than 5%, so I would have gone down to 1%. But again, just not knowing what that meant, and there was no clear explanation on the site what that means. Maybe everyone else knows, but I didn't. Now, the shades have a 3-year warranty, and I was stunned and happy to hear that they come in widths up to 109 inches. So instead of me having to order 7, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shades, I was actually able to get away with 4 big ones. So one for each section of the windows. And also, even if I'd ordered the smaller ones, they would only go down halfway because there's a 2x4 like halfway between each window. So outside of the window was better for me, meaning on the inside of the patio, but outside the window frame at the very top. So they come all the way down and not interfering with any of the construction or the wood, the way it's built for these windows. Now you get your choice of smart shade motor technology. So what does this mean? You can have shades in either Zigbee, Amazon's A, Z-Wave, HomeKit over Thread, and lastly, Matter over Thread. I opted for the Matter over Thread as Matter's the new smart home platform of choice that makes it work with all the popular smart home ecosystems. I'm an Apple Home guy. Matter works with Apple Home. So I also ordered the wireless remote. I've got it mounted here on the wall. And if you know me, you know I'm a fan of, if you're going to do anything with smart home, you got to have manual controls. So for me, having a manual control is huge. I depend on it. I rely on it. I will not get anything that doesn't have that manual control. So now this one controller can control, they have a 5-channel and a 15-channel. I only have the 4 shades, so I went with the 5-channel. But you can basically switch to any particular shade, or you can switch to all channels and make all the shades go up and down. So for example, if I go back to, that's number 3 over there, and I raise number 3 is now going up. And again, don't have to go to my phone, don't have to use a voice command. Just anyone can walk out here on the patio and just simply press the button on the remote and get the shade to go up and down the way they want. So that one's going up behind me. And again, wirelessly from the remote. It's a must. If you're going to order the shades, don't cheap out and not get the remote. You'll be sorry you didn't get the remote, because why would you not want manual control when you can have it? Now, at any point, you can stop the shade. So I just stopped it from going all the way up. I can go back down, have it go back down behind me. And again, they even give you a mount to mount this on the wall, which I did just that. The beauty of having them in your smart home platform of choice, though, for me, like I said, Apple Home, is that they can also be tied into automations and scenes. So, for example, they can automatically open and close at specific times, open in the morning, close at night, open or close when the last person leaves the house, close when I activate my good night or going upstairs scene. So just endless possibilities with having them in automations. Even when the room or the outside gets to a certain temperature, you can have the shades close. So with that said, the shades arrived with no issues and were packaged extremely well. Each shade is also labeled with the name and location used during the ordering process, so you know which one it goes into, which window it goes into, with no confusion. I've installed a few different smart shades and blind motors, and I have to say these were definitely some of the easiest to install. Basically, for the size of the shade, you get 2, 3, or 4 brackets. They just screw in. They give you the template, so you get them perfectly lined up, and then you just literally hang them and clip them into the brackets. Anyone can do this if you're handy with a drill. Because these are outdoor shades, they also come with these side wires to keep the shades from flapping in the wind. So they screw into the valance and mount at the bottom of your window, either to the frame or to the floor, depending on your shade. Each shade has a rechargeable battery, and you can plug that shade into an outlet to charge it. I don't know how many months it's supposed to last. I'm sure it's on the website. Or you can also get a solar panel option with each shade, so it stays charged at all times. Now, this is probably one of those areas that could be improved. The solar panels themselves come with an adhesive tape on the back. And if you're mounting them in the window, you put the solar panel on the back of the valance, out of the way, out of sight. No one sees it unless they're on the outside. Perfect, great. I see why they put that adhesive on there. That doesn't really help me, because my valances are above the window against the wall. So therefore, I can't put the solar panel behind it. The adhesive's on the back. so I can't really stick it to the screen. And they're not wide enough to drill into the frames. So I got to figure out how I'm going to mount these solar panels. I got one mounted on the side here, and it is, it's okay, but there isn't a lot of sun in that corner, so it's probably not going to do me a ton of good. But I will experiment with the solar mounting options of the panels themselves and figure out what's best for me. Now, with that said, I do wish that they either made it so they hook onto the valance, so that way they're up against the window no matter what, or they just give me some other options. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about matter over thread, which is the motor that I chose. Matter is the promise of buying your favorite accessory and having it just work in your smart home platform of choice, whether it's Google Home, Lady A, or Apple Home. And while the shades do work in Apple Home as advertised, Matter over Thread is only as good as your Thread mesh network. For a solid connection, you'll either need a Thread border router nearby or a Thread device with routing capabilities, which is usually one that's powered nearby. I had a hell of a time getting 2 of the 4 shades paired because it just would fail every time, again, because it wasn't making that Thread connection. I ended, and this, by the way, has nothing to do with your Wi-Fi. So you can say, oh, my Wi-Fi is right there. It doesn't matter. This has to do with a nearby Thread border router, such as an Apple TV, HomePod, or other device with routing capabilities. So for example, let's say you're using Google or Amazon. Then you would need one of their smart hubs nearby in order for that to work. Now, and while I was able to get the shades successfully paired, they can often go no response. And the only way I was able to get them to successfully repair those 2 that were giving me trouble, so I literally had to take an Eve Energy, which is a smart plug with thread, plug it into an extension cord, move the plug near the shades, and then pair them. And then they finally successfully pair because, again, it's nothing to do with the shades. It's the nature of thread. So thread is like a mesh network, like Wi-Fi's mesh networks, but it's only as good as the signal you're receiving. So you got a strong signal, you'll have no problems. You got a weak signal, you're going to have problems getting them set up. And because these are outdoor shades, I don't have a lot of options for thread border routers. Now, I said I have a TV out here, and that TV does have an Apple TV plugged into it. And I set that Apple TV like literally right on top of the TV so that there's nothing blocking the signal. And I still had a heck of a time getting those 2 and paired until I brought that Eve Energy outside to get it done. So while I got them successfully paired, and again, I can't leave that extension cord running across the patio, that means that sometimes the shades can go no response in Apple Home because the signal's weak out here. I'll keep working on my thread network, but I have to give you that warning if you're going to do thread or matter over thread, that is only going to be as good as your thread mesh network. Now, with that said, the one thing Smartwings could do better, this is not the technology, but it's just the way they do the shades. When you pick your shade, you get to decide what side you want the motor on. And you're like, well, what difference does it make? Well, if you're going to use the solar panels, everyone says put the motor on the right side because the wiring works better that way. Okay, fine. So I put all the motors on the right side. Now, I got the motors on the right side and they work great, and I can plug in the solar panel, but the pairing code, which is a little sticker, is all the way on the other side of the shade. Now, if you're working with a shade that's only this wide, press the button, look over there, scan with your phone, no big deal. But when you're dealing with a 100-inch shade, that means you're up on a ladder, you're pressing the button to start the pairing, and then you're coming down on the ladder, moving the ladder, going up and scanning it with your phone. Now, I did this because I was having so much trouble with those 2 shades. Obviously, I'm not going to keep going up and down. I just simply took a picture of the pairing codes so that when it came time to pair, I could just go to my Photos app and just tap the QR code and it would launch Apple Home and start the pairing process. So that eventually worked. Like I said, I got that done, but I do wish that they would put the sticker with the pairing code, the QR code, on the same side as the motor. So if you pick right, then they put the sticker on the right-hand side. If you pick left, they put the sticker on the left-hand side. Now, they used to only put it on top, which of course, if you put it in a window, you'll never see it again. So now they do put it on top with a description of the actual shade, where which shade, which window it is, with all the descriptions and measurements, and they do put one now right on the front. And I also want you to back up those codes once you do all the pairing, because who knows if that sticker will wear off in the elements outside. Smartwings, if you're watching this, and I know you are, move that sticker to whatever side the motor's on, especially on those super wide shades, and you'll make everyone's life easier. All right, this is another reason to go with the wireless remote, because again, I'm able to control the shades like you just saw without ever having to worry about, is it in Apple Home responding or in Google responding or so forth and so on. Now, overall, I give Smartwings credit for making the installation process set up as seamless as possible. The shades are beautiful, quiet, you didn't hear that one going up and down, and they work as advertised with no issues with the shades themselves. If you have windows that you would like to have smart shades on, head over to the Smartwings website, which I'll put a link to down here in the description, get a price on your measurement, your size, and I pretty much am assured that you'll be happy with what you get. The shades are good quality, they work, they're beautifully designed, they're smooth, never had an issue so far. They come with a 3-year warranty. They're rechargeable, so you're not buying batteries, and you just can't beat it. So cheers, everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye, everybody.